Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7 o'clock main news. In tonight's headlines, Kuwait's charity organisations continue to deliver relief aid to Syrian refugee families in Jordan. So-called IS suicide bombers and gunmen struck targets in the northern Iraqi city of Samarra. The UN Special Envoy to Syria heads to Damascus to pursue a start date for a proposed suspension of government airstrikes in the city of Aleppo. And world powers meet in Switzerland next Thursday to continue their diplomatic efforts towards reaching a solution on the Iranian nuclear issue. Her Excellency Park Geun-hye, the South Korean President, will arrive in Kuwait on Sunday on a 3-day official visit. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, along with the Korean President, will discuss means of boosting bilateral relations in all possible spheres for the interest of both countries. The Crown Prince of Dubai and Dubai Executive Council Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum departs after concluding his visit to Kuwait. A Foreign Ministry source announced that Kuwait's embassy in Yemen will resume its political mission in the city of Aden as a gesture of support to legitimacy in Yemen, represented by President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi. The decision came as a response to what was recently agreed upon in GCC Foreign Ministers' meeting. The GCC initiative reflected support to legitimate authority in Yemen, as well as the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2201. The Foreign Ministry source also stressed that security and stability in Yemen will only be realized through commitments to the GCC initiative and its implementation mechanism. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, along with the United Arab Emirates, also reopened their embassies in the southern port city of Aden. Kuwait's Al Bunyan campaign, along with the Kuwaiti diplomatic mission in Amman, as well as Jordanian charitable organizations, handed today 12 tons of relief aid to more than 500 Syrian refugee families in Jordan. The head of the campaign, Dr. Sulaiman Al-Shatti, told Kuna that the relief aid campaign provided necessities to the Syrian families as part of the ongoing mission to ease the suffering of refugees who have been fleeing the violence since 2011. Al-Shatti affirmed that Al Bunyan campaign will continue its humanitarian efforts in Jordan as well as other countries in the region. So-called IS suicide bombers and gunmen struck targets today in the northern Iraqi city of Samarra, where security forces and their militia allies have been gathering for an offensive against the militants. Security sources and residents said the attack on Samarra was launched early in the morning when 2 militant suicide bombers blew up their cars. At the same time, a man drove a Humvee rigged with explosives into the south of the city and detonated it, while IS gunmen attacked security forces to the west with sniper fire, mortars and rocket-propelled grenades. Medical sources said Samarra Hospital received the bodies of 14 militia fighters and policemen. Further east in Diyala province, 11 people were killed in a twin car bombing in the town of Balad Roz today. One of those killed was a judge. The UN Special Envoy to Syria heads to Damascus to pursue a start date for a proposed 6-week suspension of government airstrikes and artillery shelling in the city of Aleppo. In other developments, Kurdish forces dealt a blow to the so-called IS by capturing an important town in the latest stage of a powerful offensive in the northeast. The capture of Tel Hamis was announced by the Kurdish militia and confirmed by the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which monitors the country's civil war. The IS has been forced into retreat across parts of the strategic region, a land bridge between territory it controls in Syria and Iraq, even as its gunmen have mounted new raids this week on Christian villages, abducting more than 200 people. The unbearable humanitarian situation in Gaza has prompted international organizations to express their deep concern and urge an immediate response to resolve it. More with Wajd Al-Wahidi from Gaza.
Oxfam, the International Development Organization, warned that at current rates, it could take more than 100 years to complete essential building of homes, schools, and health facilities in Gaza unless Israel lifts its blockade. According to Oxfam, only 0.25% of the truckloads of essential construction materials needed have entered Gaza in the past 3 months. The organization's regional director said that only an end to the blockade of Gaza will ensure that people can rebuild their lives.
The recent report by Oxfam shows the catastrophic conditions in Gaza Strip, and this is a call from the Palestinian civil society in order to go forward the issue of first, pressure Israel to lift the siege totally on Gaza Strip. Second, that the consensus government to take over its responsibilities in Gaza, mainly the crossings. In the same time, we are calling on the international community in order to pay its commitments and pledges and the donors conference. Gaza is recently suffering from its worst humanitarian conditions forever.
Meanwhile, in a joint statement emailed to reporters, 30 UN agencies and international NGOs called for the improvement of the livelihood of Gazans. The organizations said they are alarmed by the lack of progress in the rebuilding and warned of the resumption in hostilities unless the root causes of the conflict are tackled.
According to many international agencies and organizations, if the situation continues as it is right now, it will take tens of years for the rebuilding and reconstruction of the Gaza Strip. So as long as Israel does not allow enough construction materials and as long as money doesn't come to the Gaza Strip, the suffering of the Palestinians and those who have been displaced will continue for many years to come.
More than 6 months have passed since a ceasefire ended the military conflict between Hamas and Israel. However, no progress has been made to reach a long-term solution and to prevent possible conflicts in the future. With no signs of improvement so far, thousands of Gazans are still living in badly damaged homes or shelters. Both Israel and Egypt have shut their borders, rendering Gaza as an open-air prison with no access to clean water, electricity, or improved infrastructure. Majda Wahedi, Kuwait TV, Gaza.
An aircraft from Libyan forces controlling Tripoli crashed near the Tunisian border and may have been shot down. The aircraft went down 5 kilometers from the frontier inside Libya, but Libyan officials didn't immediately confirm the incident. The crash happened while two rival governments and their armed forces were conducting airstrikes on each other. The United Nations is trying to negotiate a deal between the factions to form a unity government to stop the Libyan tension. The United States set out yesterday what it called its bottom lines to reach a deal with Iran to rein in its nuclear program ahead of new talks next week. US Secretary of State John Kerry will leave at the weekend for Switzerland, where he will meet once again with the Iranian counterpart Mohammad Javad Zarif. The pace and intensity of the talks have sped up as global powers gathered under the P5+1 group been seeking a deal with Iran to stop it acquiring a nuclear weapon, something Tehran denies trying to do. A March 31st deadline for a political framework for the deal is looming, with negotiators saying they will aim to pin down the final technical details by June 30th. Russian opposition leader Boris Nemtsov, an outspoken critic of President Vladimir Putin, was shot and killed earlier today, only 2 days before he was to speak at a major anti-government rally. Nemtsov was shot 4 times in the back from a passing car as he walked across a bridge in central Moscow. Putin condemned the killing and took personal control of the investigation, as he thinks it might be a provocation ahead of the opposition march set for tomorrow. Cuban and American officials met yesterday in Washington for a second round of talks aimed at carrying out the vow of President Barack Obama and President Raul Castro to restore diplomatic relations. The American side reported meaningful progress, and more meetings were scheduled for the next few weeks on civil aviation, human trafficking, internet connections and human rights. Meanwhile, at a conference, Secretary of State John Kerry said the question of removing Cuba from the list was not part of the negotiations, but instead an evaluation that the department must make based on mandated criteria. the department must determine whether Cuba in the last 6 months has been engaged in supporting international terrorist acts. The presidents of both countries said they would attend the regional summit of the Americas in Panama in April, leading to expectations that the embassies might open before then. India's government said today that it would delay deficit reduction plans to increase spending on infrastructure to help the economy grow in India. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government unveiled a business-friendly budget aimed at attracting investments to grow at a rate of more than 8% during 2015-2016. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley proposed trimming the main corporate tax rate to 25% from 30% over the next 4 years. He also said 5 large-scale power generation plants would be built to help meet electricity demand. Jaitley said presenting the budget in Parliament, the country would spend an additional 700 billion rupees on roads, railways, ports and other projects next year. Tamil Nadu Muslim Cultural Association, or the TMCA of Kuwait, a non-profit and one of the oldest Indian associations registered with the Indian Embassy since 1995, conducted its 10th annual blood donation camp at Kuwait's central bank. While commemorating Kuwait's National and Liberation Day celebrations, the TMCA took the opportunity to organise its blood donation camp to motivate people to donate blood and cooperate in social works. Here is more on the event in this report by Salim Al-Kindri.
In the Holy Quran, Allah Almighty says, "Whosoever saves a human life, saves the life of the whole mankind." This is the logo that Tamil Nadu Muslim Cultural Association TMCA of Kuwait held its annual blood donation camp in its 10th edition for this year.
Salute TMCA for organizing the blood donation camp on Kuwait's National Day. This they have been doing for last 10 years, and this year about 200 of our nationals will contribute blood for the welfare of Kuwaiti friends, whom we regard as our brothers and sisters. This is a noble gesture on part of Indian community. Many such Indian associations are doing it, and such a gesture will continue in years to come. I also congratulate the people of Kuwait on their National Day, on the Liberation Day. Our President and Prime Minister have sent greetings to His Highness the Amir, His Highness the Crown Prince, His Highness the Prime Minister, and through them to the people of Kuwait on this happy occasion.
Alhamdulillah, this event is, we are donating the blood. This is for we are celebrating quite the 54th National Day and the 24th Liberation Day. Every year we are conducting the blood donation camp. This day is reserved for TMCA only. This day is reserved for TMCA for Jabria Blood Donation Bank. We started our blood donation camp morning 7:30. Every year, the same day, this day, we are donating around about 175 our brothers and sisters. They are donating blood for the celebration of 54th Liberation Day and 24th National Day.
The TMCA is one of the leading, largest social organization doing a lot of humanitarian services in Kuwait. And blood donation is one of the unique humanitarian services, and there is no better gift Indian community can give it to Kuwait on this auspicious occasion of Kuwait National Day.
Human blood has no substitute, and the requirement of safe blood is increasing, and regular voluntary blood donations are vital for blood transfusion services.
This is the 10th blood donation camp organized by the association. It is to share celebrations of Kuwait's National Day and to spread awareness among the public to donate blood. From Kuwait Central Blood Bank, this is Salim Al-Kindri reporting for the English News.
For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. And to recap tonight's news, here are the headlines once again. Kuwait's charitable organisations continue to deliver relief aid to Syrian refugee families in Jordan. So-called IS suicide bombers and gunmen struck targets in the northern Iraqi city of Samarra. The UN Special Envoy to Syria heads to Damascus to pursue a start date for proposed suspension of government airstrikes on the city of Aleppo. World powers will meet in Switzerland next Thursday to continue their diplomatic efforts towards reaching a solution on the Iranian nuclear issue. Thank you for joining us.